So, what I thought I'd do with this video is a bit of a recap. Now that I've been fortunate enough to have come into being a car reviewer, and I've been doing that for just over a year now. And that's kind of hard to believe because I still have to pinch myself that it's a thing that I'm actually doing. It all happened pretty quickly too. I just got a message from a mate of mine one afternoon, I think it was, and he'd been doing the reviews for a little while, and I hadn't thought much about it really, or even questioned how he got into it himself or anything like that. And but yeah, he messaged me and asked if I was interested in the opportunity, and next minute I was talking with the chief editor of Exhaust Notes Australia and being signed up and inducted into how they do everything. The rest, as they say, is history, I suppose. And in 2023, so the first year that I was involved with the online publication, I managed to review 5 cars. A nice small little number there. So in starting, I was just given it was actually quite a small list from memory. There wasn't a lot of car availability there, and not quite knowing how it works or that the list would grow, thinking that, we were already, I think, in August or September at that time. I thought that maybe that was about it for the year. I was told there was an Aston Martin was on the list, and I was told that was a no-no. I think you'd be pretty ballsy to ask for an Aston Martin as your first gig anyway. Yeah, I didn't know a few of the cars on there, but I thought, well, what better way to sort of get into this than to jump in the deep end? And so I selected what was the GWM Cannon Vanta, and it was basically a dual cab ute, which is something that is completely not me, even though the Australian market loves their SUVs and loves their dual cabs. It's just not something I've ever been interested in. From GWM, who's a company I'd never really heard of. So that was the first car I picked, and so began the research. And I'm probably going to say that was one of the most heavily researched cars I ended up reviewing, purely because I just didn't really know that much about it. And I didn't want to stuff this job up, right? Like this opportunity. So yeah, so that was that. Found out how you go and pick up the car and all that kind of stuff. It's straightforward enough. And my mate who got me into it, David Bourne, so he was videoing his reviews. Now I didn't realize he wasn't videoing all of them, but because I only saw the ones that he did do. And I thought, well, okay, I'm interested enough in video editing myself. I've done a few vlogs, which is nothing that special, but I figured, okay, that's something I can get on board with too. And that old saying of how hard could it be, I looked at some of the other reviewers from Exhaust Notes and what they had done and thought, I can do that, it's easy. Yeah, famous last words, as always. So look, so I got the car. It was a unique experience. Went over it head to toe, looking at all the features and whatnot. Yeah, when it came to writing and filming the review, that was an interesting experience. We were given a guideline of about 1,200 words, and I think my initial draft was more than double that. I think what I had done is I'd gone into my creative writing mode and just decided that I would go with Lord of the Rings / Game of Thrones style descriptions rather than something concise and to tell the story of the car. So many iterations later, I think I completely rewrote it and still came in way above probably around 2,000 words, and just had to keep refining it. And it's all good practice. It really is. And look, even the final that went live, was re-edited some more and further refined to what was presented to everyone. And, fair enough as well. But it's all learning. It's all a learning process, and that was good. But the videoing, I figured, I'll be out for maybe an hour or so, just record what I need to say, Yeah, so half a day later, I come back with more than probably 3 hours of footage, reshoots and everything. Talking to camera is not that easy. I'm doing it now, but I've had practice. And this isn't even a structured thing. I'm not talking about the car and its features. I'm just talking about my experience. So they're very different things. And when you've got to cover off particular items, then you're wondering in your head, how did it sound? And half the time it's not until you get back home and you watch it back and go, damn, I've messed that up, or I could have said that differently. Then you either reshoot it again, which I've done, or you go to voiceover and you try again that way. And so there's all these things. Basically, it's all been a learning thing. I have no regrets. I just think I underestimated what was going to be required of me. And look, it makes me appreciate all the more all the people who are able to do this. And I know there are people who do this way better than me. They've probably been doing it longer than me, but you've got to have that personality. And it's something I talk about with my mate Dave, who got me into it, right? Is that a lot of the time you've got to ham your personality up. And particularly for me, I'm not a very out there personality, and I just found that in a lot of those initial videos that I did, I was just coming very flat, very plain. And so it's that old adage of smile, so that your demeanor comes across a little more friendly, that kind of thing. And you come across interesting. And I wonder how the guys on Top Gear do it. They must really have to be over the top about everything because they're so expressive, and that comes across, and that's what makes them entertaining. So anyway, maybe going off track there a little bit. So like the GWM review being the first one, it took quite some time to get it together, finesse it and get it right. Look, it got up there and it was fine. I suppose the one thing that I did do stupidly wrong was the main thing that got critiqued by everyone who watched that video, was that even though I had the lapel mic on, for some reason I decided to use the GoPro audio instead, as I figured it picked up the engine noise a bit better. And yeah, so what ended up happening there was just the audio wasn't that great. Even though I boosted the vocal levels and stuff, it just wasn't that great. It's the only video I did it on. The only other thing I did on that I didn't do anywhere else was I put some backing music, and I just found in the end that it was distracting, not really needed, and so I not bothered doing that again. The review went fairly well, I think. Certainly learned a lot out of it, as I said, and it took off. What I didn't know at the time was how interested the market was in a cheap, affordable ute like the Canon van, the Canon, and that one was priced at about 50 grand drive away. That was super affordable compared to all the other options out there. So as soon as that review hit, it went off, and it's still very highly viewed. Like the YouTube video, I think is over 10,000 views. Totally not what I expected, and of course I can't really take credit for it because it was, the fact that it was presented by me. That's not it at all. It's just that it was the right car to review, and no one else had done a video review on that particular car at the time. I still don't think there are many out there, to be honest. I think it was one of the early ones. So timing was just key there, I think, and so it didn't really do too bad that on my debut review, it was the most, the highest read of all of them for the month. So that was a very decent start. I also gave myself a fair amount of time to do that one, I think. I didn't book in to do another one too quickly, as I figured I wanted to get everything right with doing that one. But being what it was, and out of the 5 cars, that remained probably in 5th place for the cars I reviewed for 23, just because I'm not a ute person. That's the main reason. My daughter loved it. She liked the high seating position. It was quite roomy, things like that, and it had decent tech in it, which is what a lot of the Chinese cars are offering these days. So it definitely had all that on its side. Maybe if they bring out a 7-seater based on that, it could be something worth looking at. But yeah, not the ute. The second car we reviewed ended up being the Mazda CX-90 Azami, which was another one I didn't really know much about. I've known Mazda, of course, and have owned a Ford badged Mazda in the past. But yeah, this was one of their new SUVs that they were pushing out, part of their premium brand, their premium push. And yeah, I thought it might be interesting to give that a go. It just so happened I was reviewing that car whilst we would be down in the Southern Highlands, so about an hour and a half south of Sydney, for a mate's wedding, where I was going to be best man. So we were able to take it down there. It actually doubled as the groom's car, the transport to the wedding, so it was nice for that, you know, with its luxurious appointments. And that was quite a fun car because it was new for Mazda as well. So it was new to me, and I guess the big question about it was whether people would spend six figures on a Mazda, because that was what we were looking at the time. And with their new petrol 6-cylinder engine, it actually drove really well. As much as I'm not a dual cab person, I'm also not really an SUV person. So go figure. But it was a nice car. My main issue I took with it was the hybrid system was a bit clunky, and the aircon didn't really work too great. We had a lot of the cars I had. In fact, I think every one of the cars I had in 23 was during a hot period, and the aircon wasn't great for a 6-cylinder turboed engine. I was expecting a bit better, especially from a Japanese car. That was also the one where, whilst filming out in I can't really call it a rural suburb, but a suburb with some unsealed roads and stuff, I was getting some drone footage, and had put everything back in the boot, but I hadn't closed the boot. So as I drove off, the drone case fell out the back with a mighty bang. Thankfully, it's a hard case, so it protected everything really well. But oh damn, yeah, that was embarrassing. Luckily, I wasn't on a main road, and lucky it didn't hit anyone or anything. But yeah, that was just one of those oops moments, I guess. And being the second review, I tried a few different things. I grabbed my video camera that I usually use for plane spotting, mounted it on a tripod, and just did some drive-bys with the car, just to try and get some external shots, because it's almost impossible to do when you're on your own. And being that we were out and away from civilization, I felt, you know, I could leave the camera on the tripod without worrying about someone taking it anyway. Integrated some more drone shots in that particular one. I did in the Canon Ute video as well, but yeah, just tried some new techniques with the Mazda. That review came together a bit easier after learning from the first one, and you know, overall it was a good car. I think that is third in my rankings for the year out of the 5, so it's midway, only because of a couple of the little issues I mentioned earlier. The third car ended up being the Peugeot 508 GT. How do they do it? It's the Peugeot 508 Sportswagen GT plug-in hybrid. So there's a lot on there. It came up late in the year, but as I had been considering the Peugeot 508 when I bought the Stinger, it was one that I jumped on quite quickly when it was announced. No one else seemed to care about it, so I got it. Being the third one I reviewed, again, I tried some new stuff. I went to some new places. I took that car on some of the roads that I drove the Mazda on, because I thought they were a bit better, and also found some new places and photo ops as well. Yeah, just went exploring, and that's one of the things the reviews have done too, is I've been able to explore new places for taking the pictures, because we need the pictures to go with the article, of course, but also driving roads too. Look, I really liked it, actually. It was a beautiful car, and even though it's got nowhere near as much power as this, 165 kilowatts, I think, so almost over 100 less than what the Stinger has. It was front wheel drive, but it still drove so nice, and it was just Euro comfort, could I say luxury almost too, because it just felt so nice to sit in. It was the most comfiest, and I know I'm gushing over this, but it was just a really, really nice car, and it's such a shame that it's been killed off by Peugeot. It's such a shame that no one else buys them. I really salute anyone who does own one, because you've just got a stunning car. But anyway, I liked it. It was the only. No, it wasn't. It was, it had the low profile, like the low roof line. You're sitting low in it, and it just looked great. But yeah, that was me appreciating it. I don't think too many other people really cared that much.
400 meters.
Sadly, aside from it looking good and me loving it, it drove well, but it just was a bit technically challenged. Unfortunately, it didn't have a lot of tech in there that you'd expect for the price, particularly as Peugeot had just raised the price on them to ridiculous money. No wonder they didn't sell. The fourth car happened after we came back from our Adelaide blast in the Stinger, so we took that on a cruise to Adelaide and back, and it was a Toyota Camry. And I don't know if it was the main reason, but the reason I got it was just to have a bit of fun. I mean, Camrys are Camrys. They're going to sell if you do a review of them or not, but they're very vanilla, nothing exciting about them at all, and I just wanted to do a couple of plays on that, have a bit of fun, put a tissue box on the parcel shelf and all that kind of stuff. I mean, some of my friends were saying I should have printed out some Uber stickers and stuff and put them on the window and things like that. So I didn't do all that, but I did have fun with it. And you know what? It actually was... It was a car that did everything it said on the box. It was hard to be critical of the car, apart from the fact that it was a Camry, which I know is a kind of a weird thing to say, because I kind of found why people buy them and why they're so popular as taxis and Uber cars, because it just did what it was meant to do. It had no fuss. It was very efficient. It was roomy enough, but it just wasn't remarkable, and the review kind of pointed to that. It ended up being I think it still is the shortest review I've filmed and put up. I struggled to reach the 1,200 word thing for the article, and but it was a good experience. Like, there was just nothing to really complain about with the car, aside from the fact that the under tray had been damaged in some way, I think by someone who had it prior, and so it would occasionally just catch on speed humps or dips and things. But the car itself, it was fine. It looked okay. I mean, the unfortunate thing with a Camry is no matter how much Toyota try to make it look different and exciting, it's never going to escape its nameplate, which is a shame. I didn't think it looked too bad, to be honest. And the facelift one that's just been announced or released is the same car, basically, and it looks even more modernized, but it's still just a bit dull. Anyway, I think I rated 4th out of the 5 cars, only because... So then we come to what are we left with? We've got I didn't tell you what the Peugeot was ranked, did I? But the last car that I got for the year was a Hyundai Kona Premium N-Line. So it was basically the top Hyundai Kona that you could get, and this one I had for a little over around 2 weeks over the Christmas and New Year's break. So it was a really good review period, and over the Christmas break, so we could do a bit of traveling in it and stuff like that, and my wife was able to give it a bit of a go as well. because it happened to kind of fit with the size of car that she may be looking at eventually when she wants to replace hers. The Kona was an interesting one because I picked it because I thought I wouldn't like it. The design of it I wasn't a fan of. I thought it was very too out there, and following on from the Hyundai Staria and the i30, the Kona was just like bam in your face, and I thought, okay, well, let's give it a go and see how it goes. But what I'm liking about doing these reviews is finding cars that just surprise you, and the Kona did that. As an EV9 is being put on the tilt tray. Oh dear. I actually really liked it. My mum has the first generation Kona, and it's a very small car, but the new one has grown in size, and it was spacious, it was practical, and it drove really well. Aside from the beeps and bongs that you get from all the bloody safety features that they've thrown in there, it actually didn't look too bad. I didn't mind the look of it. It grew on me. I mean, it was a bit boy racery with the big spoiler and stuff, but I'm still immature enough to appreciate that. And it just drove really well. I was actually pleasantly surprised. So yeah, had a good one with that. Did the video. I videoed all 5 of the cars for 2023, and the article came together quite easily. And yeah, the Kona would actually begin a bunch of back-to-back Hyundai Genesis related reviews into 2024. But yeah, because it surprised us so well and it did the job so well, the Kona came second on my review list, even though I was expecting that I wasn't going to end up liking it. And so if you've been kind of following along, well, that leaves the first position open where the Peugeot 508 sits in my thing of reviews. It's been fun. I think I took a measured, slow approach to the whole thing initially, and just made sure I was doing the right things. I was always checking in with the chief editor about what I was doing, whether I should do things differently, that sort of thing. And he's very receptive, very helpful, always available. So there was no real issue there. And it's been good. Of those 5 cars, they're all pretty mundane when you think about it. There's nothing crazy about any of them, but you've got to start somewhere, right? As that camera did die. So yeah, that's really about it for the wrap up. Talking about those cars, I'm sure there's more stories I could tell. I've put the only one that really got any interesting behind the scenes footage was the Peugeot, after driving that through the it's called Cat Eye Ridge Road up in the northwest of Sydney. But it was all a learning process at the end of the day. I wasn't really going to drive the SUVs through some crazy roads for B-roll footage. That was not really their target market. Wouldn't be looking for that. But yeah, it was a good introduction to it, and I've kind of just, obviously I've kept it going well into 2024, and I've reviewed over 20 cars so far this year, and the year's not over, so there will be more to come. It's going to be a lot harder ranking all of these cars for 2024, but that's why I figured, well, okay, I can do 23 pretty easily with just the 5 of them. If we added in the 6th car, that is the Kia Stinger that I bought, which is only fair. And of course, well, that car comes in at number 1, doesn't it? It bumps everyone else down a peg. It was a good year. It was definitely something different. I had to figure out my hobbies a little bit differently, because before that, I was very much into plane spotting, and well, after taking on the car review role, I found just didn't really have the time to fit it all in. So, well, that'll do. thank you for watching and listening in. And let's see where we go, what happens, and I will catch us all in the next one as it gets really dark in this car park. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I'm just gonna have to cut this down into something digestible. But yeah, I do appreciate you listening in. I hope it was interesting. If you got any questions about any of it, sing out. I will try and help you out, answer any questions you got, or I will make a video on it or something. Take care, guys.